Bruh, bruh. All right, it's gonna be a recap of Thursday, August 7th, 2025. Tape reading, market recap, trade recap, whatever. That's how I made $1,400 in less than an hour. Less than an hour since open. But yeah. So coming into the day, right? I'm gonna talk about like my whole thesis coming into this, right? Like I've been saying in my past videos, this whole week, I've been doing trade recaps and all that. I just started doing all that this week. But anyways, I started off by saying, right, we came down and took this huge objective, right? These stacked lows in the higher time frame, right? We put in this 1 hour model as well. Um, and just with the overall trend, I'm expecting us now to, just pop back up. And now we've gotten a 4 hour change of the state. We've inversed this PD ray, and now this order block as well. So I'm thinking all time highs, right? Um, I ain't gonna lie, like not even to like be cocky, but I've been saying this shit. Really, I have been. Right. So we got this 1 hour model all the way down here, right? And I'm thinking at least off of that, off the standard deviation alone, probably want to come up to where we are right now. Um, so we've already met this objective, right? But honestly, with the trend and all that, like I'm thinking this it's more likely because with this 4 hour, right, we got this change of the state inverse multiple PD arrays. I think it's kind of more likely, and we're still respecting bullish PD arrays. I think it's more likely we get hit all time highs before we come down here. So I'm that's what I'm thinking. But at least through today, we had a solid thesis, a higher time frame idea of what we want to do, so we can kind of like frame what's happening intraday with that, right? So with that being said, and like that's not even super important, right? Because that is such high time frame, and I trade on like the 1 minute 30-second executions, so we can easily find models, just within that, you know, and it doesn't even matter that that's happening, right? But it's also just good to have that thesis, and that understanding of what's kind of going on in the higher time frame. But anyways, coming into the day, right, we had this SMT at this isn't New York open, this isn't New York highs at all, but this is still a clean 1 hour high, right? And we're getting an SMT there, right, with some pretty weak price action. We're also in this 1 hour order block, 1 hour fair value gap, as well as I believe on the 4 hour. Yeah, we're in this 4 hour fair value gap, right? And in this order block technically too, right? So this is a higher time frame PD array, right? A place where you'd expect um, us to have a pretty solid reaction off of, right? So that with the 1 hour SMT, I'm thinking, okay, um, you know, I kind of like us for a retracement here, anyways, as well, because even off of this, right? We've came up pretty extended, right? Off this price, like we're pretty extended. To me, it just seems like we're kind of due for a retracement, anyways, right? So this kind of plays in conjunction with everything, right? But the one thing is, like, we're still kind of in pre-market. We're still wicking off of bullish PD rays, right? Bullish fair value gaps and all that stuff, right? So I was thinking, okay, I would like to see, for a retracement down, I'd like to see um, London session high manipulation, right? And then reverse down, take Asia session lows and some lows from earlier in the day, or from New York PM session, right? All these stacked lows. We had all these stacked lows right here and right here. I'm thinking these at least get hit if we can, sweep London highs successfully, right? Which we did. So that was kind of like set up like beautifully. Like you could have taken a turtle soup right here, which is kind of what I did, but not really. But yeah, it was kind of set up really nicely for that, right? So you're just kind of fitting in like the higher time frame picture with what's coming in on the lower time frame picture, right? So yeah, coming into the day, right, we sweep this, and this is like a clear 1 hour high. Like this is obvious highs right here. This is obviously a lot of orders sitting here, right? We sweep it with an SMT, right? So now I'm thinking, okay, if we get strong enough internal price action, I'm thinking, um, this is what's going to give us the model to retrace down, which it does obviously end up doing, right? So let's look into the 1 minute now. Once that happens, right? Once I see us, um, sweep this high, right? We also sweep this, New York, this New York high right here, right? This is, we make a new higher high, sweep it, and look at the price action. Look at the internal price action. As soon as I see this, right, this is a super strong, just context behind this. So as soon as I see this change the state, right, inverse what one, I guess really only one PD rate, right? But we're also making this huge candle down on the 30-second. This looked even better, obviously. Right? We're inversing even more PD arrays. But this was it, right? We're sweeping this high perfectly. Super weak rejection, right? I enter in right here, And now we're aligned with the higher time frame for the day. I think the daily move is going to be a retracel. Obviously, I got my full position off here. Um, I obviously should have stuck to my whole thesis. Could have got a lot more money, and technically even here could have got a lot more money. But obviously, here's what made sense to me here and here, right? So I should have took some scales off here and here because now, before when we only had this sweep this high, I was thinking, okay, well, it's something, right? It's something to show us like, okay, we're kind of starting to get weak, right? When we don't have this sweep of this high, I want to see London session get manipulated now, for us to get like a actual model, right? To retrace down, because just with this, right, we can, but notice where most of the big moves are, right? We get this internal or smaller sweep right here off this bigger sweep, and then move right here, same thing. Um, what should we call it? SMT right here, you know, consolidation, sweep it with the SMT, shoot down, right? Same thing, manipulate internal, shoot up, right? So now I'm looking for the same thing, and we get that with the SMT right here. Um, and then, yeah, just in terms of market maker models, right? Where are you looking? You're looking at the consolidation lows, the stack lows, all that. You can also use standard deviation to get some price targets, which you could have done, worked out very well, and also just Asia session lows and New York PM session lows, right? So time-based liquidity huge once again, right? Sweeping London highs, right? Off of this original SMT, get this SMT here. Um, so yeah, I entered in right about here. Um, NQ was holding a lot stronger than ES, which is the only thing I wasn't liking. Like we even made this SMT um, right here, but I like how we were protecting this high already. Right, this is making me think we want to move down. Right? This is SMT divergence. This is exactly what you want to see. So I was a bit, obviously don't like going into drawdown, right? But we had a lot of drawdown. We came down to almost our stop, almost got hit, right? Um, but we kept it, moved, and you know, worked out perfectly, right? There was also another nice little entry right here. This breakout entry, right? You get a sweep, nice. Fair value gap entering right here, target here. You could have got another trade. I was gone by then. Yeah, I was dipped, and that's a bit late for me. That's what almost launch set. No, I'm tripping. Never mind. Never mind. I got my clock wrong. But anyways, yeah, that's really it for today, right? We were coming into this, drawdown period, but I was holding strong because we swept. We had an SMT at London highs, which is powerful time based liquidity, right? We took out, the fact that we're holding this high is very important, right? And with this overall context, we're doing this SMT off of an SMT, a higher time frame SMT, and in these higher time frame PD rays. In this spot, we expect to retrace. So this is a lot of confluence, telling me, hey, this is what we're gonna do most likely. Um, so just let it happen, let it play out. If it hits your stop, then you were wrong. Learn from it. If not, hold it out and let it play. Now, one thing I will say is I gotta stay internally strong, and I'm holding out these trades, bro. I took some off like right here and then right here. I should have held I should have scaled at least half, maybe like 60-70% right here, then more down here, just because it makes sense, right? You want to do what makes sense, not, I'm just, oh man, I just want to lock in profits. Like that doesn't make sense, bro. We have this clear model in place. We're going to take liquidity, right? We're going to take liquidity pools, not just pop up, at what should we call it? At PD arrays, right? We're going to take, when we have models in place, especially on the higher time frame, like 1 hour and stuff like that, we're going to go take 1 hour lows, right? Before we, continue to move in the other direction. So yeah, that's it for today, though, boys. Hope you guys enjoyed, and that is how I made $1,400 in like an hour. So yeah.